Hey guys, what is up? It is Connor Botts here, the director of Lost Transmission.
And I am Ben Mayer, executive producer and actor in Lost Transmission.
And today we're going to be doing another BTS video / Q&A video to answer some of the questions that a lot of you guys have had about how we did the production.
Let's get to it.
Now let's get to it. So one of the first questions that we had was, how did we build the set?
That's a great question. How did we build the set?
A lot of time, blood,
Sweat, tears, lots of energy drinks, coffee, and why don't we
actually go take a look at the set?
let's take a look.
Come on with us.
Come along. It'll be fun. All right, so here we are right outside the set. This is it. I know it doesn't look like much, but it's on the inside, it's what counts. So as you can see, they're in a bit of a construction phase. This is a fairly new production studio, so they are constantly building new sets and things are moving around. So that's why there's so much stuff around. This is what they call Film Alley, and so that's where we built our set. This was already here, but it was kind of just a shell. It was just a few different props on the inside, things like that, to just sell it as a sort of Osprey bay, if you will. So that's where we got our 3 little paws on it and did our dirtiest. So come along and we will show you inside. So this is our door, right? Before, so one of the weekends that I took some time, came down here by myself and fixed some stuff up, made it a little bit more accessible. After our first weekend of shooting, I was like, I can make this better. So I'm a maintenance man, so I took what was already here and I kind of scrapped it together. Doesn't need to be perfect, doesn't need to be pretty, but just get the job done. So before, you can actually see this slant here. This used to go just straight up, so we had to literally like crawl in to get in, and it was a huge pain. Huge pain, especially getting equipment and things like that inside, and 7 bodies in. It was rough. So let's go on inside and I can show you where the real magic happens and what it really looks like, you know? So come along. And you don't have to duck this time. Pretty slick. Come on in. Okay, so I know it's a little dark. Some of our practicals aren't charged, and that's okay, because we're just flying by the seat of our pants. So right in here is where the first bit of our action happens, or I guess as far as like getting people inside. Most people would either stand here while we were shooting towards the door, or it would be on the reverse side. So if you want to keep moving in here, I'll keep these chains from smacking you in the face. And what you just heard was one of the styrofoam panels that kind of covers our door, and that happened constantly. We would always have to be like, watch the panel, watch the panel, watch the panel. Because it is sturdy, it is fairly strong, but enough kicks and it would come down. So you just experienced what we would deal with every day on set. But yeah, here we are. There's so much to talk about. I could go on and on and on and on. But one of the first things I'll point out, if you look up here, is all of the cabling and wires and chains and straps and stuff hanging around. These are all materials that people either donated, we found around the kind of construction site that is Film Alley, that we asked permission to use, things that my boss from work let me use. So shout out to Steve Larson. He's such a cool guy and a great boss. So he came in clutch and let me use so many things to put up here, of which I've since taken back. So yeah, all of that is just to give it that industrial, very ratty underbelly type look, which is what we were going for, replicating that of like Alien Resurrection, and even a little bit of kind of what was going on in the Nostromo in that underbelly that you would see occasionally. So yeah, that was the idea behind all these straps here. Added a lot of texture and things to move around, so it was just a great way to build out the look of this set and make it feel like it's just some random room that no one really pays attention to aside from storing random shit there. So that was the big pull for us. So if you turn your attention this way here, you can see hopefully our vent shaft here, right? So I rigged this. It's literally just a chunk of wood with a piece of metal on it. This is our vent cover, right? And there's a little strap here that you can kind of grab with your fingers and pull it on out. And this is literally just like a plastic tub, a plastic bin that you would maybe put like your soccer balls or your kickballs in. Like, it's nothing special. And so we just cut a hole in the wall, spray painted this with like a hammered metal sort of look to it, spray paint, it's literally called hammered metal spray paint. We did that, and then I took thumbtacks and I tacked them in around the outside to give them rivets and things like that to give it that sort of industrial look. And so, you know, it's just a tub in the wall. It's nothing special. But once you add stuff like this in, and you pop it back, bada bing, bada boom. There's your vent. And so just some movie magic here. Like, here's our simple little kind of random handle that we had that we just installed to kind of fake the vent opening per se, and that's where you get that really cool shot, which I hope Connor puts here, of me opening the vent, and it's like, so that was, you know, without having to show it opening, we showed it opening. You know what I mean? So, yeah, one of my favorite parts of this set right here. So right in front of me here is our battery. Might be a little tough to see, but this is literally just a plastic water bottle with popcorn oil in it. This is 3D printed casing around it, so it's like a little sci-fi looking. And then there's LED lights on the bottom, so they might not. Hey, nice! It's still charged. That's a surprise. So yeah, and then we would time it so we could have the light on because it was running low, so it would shut off on us occasionally. And so this is our power cell. So it's literally just popcorn oil, just to kind of give you an idea of the kind of scrappiness that we're dealing with here. If you want to pan down right here, so this little gap here, usually there's like a bunch of totes and stuff that would have been here, and you might catch them somewhat in the background. We were consistently shifting those out of the way so we could fit the sound guy in here or the makeup artist in here. It was very much like, okay, let's Tetris this and shift this around to get people where they need to be. And also, you might see, it's a little tough to see, but there's a power cable here, and that was so we could have space heaters, just to take the edge off. So throughout this set, kind of in this back corner here, down here, if we were shooting over this way, the space heaters were on and over here. If we were shooting this way, we would either turn them off or we would shift them behind where our camera was. So it was a constant ebb and flow to the movement in this set. So if you take a look back here, these are all of the, well, not all of them. You can see several of these here. These are just styrofoam. But we spray painted, well, we actually had to use like a paint sprayer because spray paint, it would eat through the styrofoam. So we would actually use, paint sprayer. And then we took silver Sharpie and went around all of these edges to make it look scuffed and metallic. And we were a little skeptical, but it really pulled off. We pulled it off, in my opinion. I think it looks awesome and very metallic in that way. So a little trick for you guys out there. And then we did a lot of that here on this back wall too. So not only are these big panels, not only are these big panels styrofoam and whatnot, but all these like sort of modular insert type panels here are also, styrofoam. So then we took Sharpie around the edges and it scuffed them up and it made them look worn and metallic, which was a huge thing. Because before they were kind of flat with just the paint on them. So we wanted to add more of that here. And then our trusty door here. I don't know if you could have heard that, but there's literally some sparklers still stuck to the door from where we hot glued it. We literally would just take a wad of sparklers, to put a dab of hot glue, and then we lit the torch. And we're like, all right, are you ready, Connor? Hope you protect your camera. And then we did the do. And so that was actually one of the days where it was just Connor and I coming down here. We're like, man, we hope we don't burn this down. This all just goes to show you that like every single thing in here, every single thing was placed by likely Connor or myself and maybe like Jared Keller and some other people. Like every piece of this was thought about and placed explicitly so it would give it its own character, if you will. So it is meant to immerse you, and I am very proud of all the time and weekends and hours that Connor and I have put in, and the various other people who have done such a good job with this set in bringing it to life. I'm so proud of that work, and I'll never not think of this as one of my favorite sets to ever build or be in, because it was very special to Connor and I, and we built it ourselves. So thank you so much for all the love and support for our work. I think it was worth it.
So another question that we had was, how big was our crew and the budget for this film? So budget-wise for this film was around about $12,000, and that's with the set build, our camera rentals, food costs for crew, gas, things like that.
Yeah, covering gas, making sure we got plenty of crafty and things to keep people warm because it's in the middle of winter, things of that nature. Our assistant set designer, Jared Keller, getting him paid and paying people as best as we could. One of the things that we pride ourselves in as a community here in Iowa is that a lot of people are very generous with their time, and they're super cool with that, and so we're eternally grateful for them for
Absolutely.
lending them behind you very studio.
Yeah, Dan, they're fantastic people, and crew to work with.
They let us rent the space for free for this set, and like that is huge thing off the budget. You know.
Yeah, huge. So definitely go check out the channel, Mediaverse Studios. Give them a subscribe and follow. And yeah, they did a fantastic job at allowing us to do what we needed to help build this world together.
Yeah, it was great. And then,
how big was our crew? I'd say on certain day, I think the most we had on one day was about 12.
yeah, basically, if you check out like our socials and the YouTube channel and things like that, there's a picture of the crew all together posing and stuff. That's about the biggest it was.
Yep.
Right. So however many people that was.
Yep, I thought it was like 12.
Maybe if you did 15, yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. So we had 2 CG artists, Scott Marchuski and
John Barrett.
And then we had several we had a gaffer, some PAs, a BTS photographer, a couple ADs, because it's part of the thing too with the IO market is the scheduling, because we all have like day jobs and stuff. So sometimes certain people could be there and couldn't be there, and so you have to kind of work around that too. So it's this whole amalgam of people.
I'd even say there, one crew member that wasn't put on who did fantastic job was our music.
Oh, Dieter. Oh my God. So, Brian Bryson, right? Dude is one of the coolest people
Amazing.
I have met in this process, and like such a talented composer and just such a good listener in more ways than one. Like any sort of tweak that we had to any sort of sound, he picked up on it immediately.
I mean, he really brought the music from Alien to life for this short film. So shout out to him. I mean, seriously, he breathed the life of the tone.
Oh yeah, film. So much of the editing that we did, like we could only do so much audio editing, which that was new for me and was so difficult but so worth it. It was only until we got the music put in that we were like, this is a film, this is awesome. And he was so good at taking the different themes from different movies and like not copying them but making them his own thing and turning it into Lost Transmission. And so you'll see a wizard.
Yeah, basically look at the catalog of all the music from all the Alien films, and I mean, he really...
Sure enough, there's some little snippet throughout, he just,
so good.
He's so talented. Check him out, Brian Bryson, stellar dude and a stellar composer. He's awesome. Yeah.
Another question we had was, how did we approach lighting for this film? That one was a difficult task for us because we wanted to keep everything universal lighting. That way we didn't have to move around big lights around for each different angle. We wanted everything to be within the set so that if we did need to add a kiss of light, it was through like a small little light pole. Like we've said in some previous videos, a lot of the, I guess, internal lighting was just simple, little flashing Temu lights that we were able to buy. A lot of them were Amazon stair lights that we used. And then we actually had 2 small rig, what I like to call the flashlight lights with a little grid at the end of them hung from the ceiling, pointing down to give our grid patterning on the floor and on our characters. And then a Amaran F22 above to give a little extra white into the set.
Yeah.
I think everything from what you guys can see in the footage, it paid off and it looked fantastic.
Yeah, and then we also would texture some of the lights, so like some of the stair lights have some spray paint on them to give them that sort of like scuffed out look as well. My character had some like hiking lights or light at headlamps. There we go, and those were like on my what do we call harness?
There we go. To give like an extra little practical light.
Yeah, just and a little bit more a difference in color. So like you've seen, it's a lot of oranges and sort of that warmer tone, and so we wanted something a little cooler. And so similarly, when we got the computer working, like in the script, when the computer started up, we had a blue light that turned on
above the computer, and that was through like just a it was the organizer, yeah, a stair light that's shoved into a like a cable organizer that you would like have your Ethernet strung through. So just little ingenious things like that all throughout the set.
Yeah, it really helped pay it off.
Yeah, it made it so much easier for like actual production, so we didn't have to worry about schlepping these huge lights around, making sure people were like super lit and like, you know, very focused, I guess, for very
To play with the lighting setups way more. It really made everything easy.
it made it so much more efficient. So
another question that we had was, how do we approach our practical and VFX shots? So one thing big key for our film we wanted to do is have our alien practical. You know, as much as we would have loved to do a full suit alien, with time and money, we just couldn't afford to get one year in time without waiting literally half a year for the costume itself.
yeah, and so much of our budget was incremental. So this was like the number we listed earlier was like total at the end of it, but there were we referenced this. We had day jobs, so this was kind of all out of our pockets, and so finding the chunk of change that would have taken to rent a full suit and get it delivered here and things like that, it's just not feasible for our means.
Yep. So we had to look at ways we could still simulate it, and I knew that NECA sold basically a head for collectors, like a wall mount that's life size, and I was like, you know, if we throw some slime and stuff on it, we could sell it. But I knew that I didn't want to just show the alien head. I wanted it to, you know, attack Ben here in some sort of way. So we hit up our amazing VFX artist, Scott, to help us with a lot of the tail animations and blend those in with our practical shots. And I think what we got came out fantastic.
And because like the important part of that, having that CG shot with the tail, is we could make it do whatever we wanted. Like it would have been like, imagine if we did get the full suit, getting a tail to sell at the way we wanted it to kill my character would have just been a nightmare. And so having Scott work his magic and make that reptilian tail stabbing the back of the head, like that was exactly what we needed to make it feel like the danger, and like that the whole alien was there. Because if we had just shown the head, it wouldn't have felt as present. It would have felt a little disjointed from just the feeling of it. So that made it feel like you were seeing the whole body without actually seeing it, in a way. I don't know if that makes sense, but to us it does. So we were like, we gotta have some semblance of the whole thing is there, of course, 'cause why wouldn't it? But so having the footsteps in there too as it walks up to Naomi, and it's clunk clunk, and the slithering of the tail, it's just like all of that
Design work to make it feel the heavy alien.
Yeah, and so that combined with the practical head really, I think, brought it to life in a way that was feasible for us, not just with time, but with money and also talent. Like, man, having someone puppet an entire suit would have been tough.
Yeah, would have been tough.
I can do some puppetry, but I would have had to take a lot of time to practice being in that suit, which would have been crazy. So another question we got was, how many days did it take for us to shoot this entire project? So what would we say?
I'd say the original plan was we had was it 2 or 3 film days.
It was two, with the potential for a third if we needed it.
Yep.
It was a weekend in
November.
Yep. Yeah, of 2024. And then we got it all that we thought we needed, and then we got into the booth and we were like, we're missing stuff. The tone was off too in some parts, and that's where a lot of the rewriting came in.
Yeah.
But basically the beginning section and most of the end, there were like the practical stuff was later, but most of the end and some middle stuff kept, meaning like inserts. But yeah, we got in the booth and we're like, we could do better.
And so then we had 2 film days planned in February, and we ended up only doing one of them because the temperature got so cold that you start seeing your breath inside the set.
And there is actually, if you want a fun little Easter egg, there is actually a shot in there where just for a brief second you can see my breath when I'm at the computer. And so one of the things we were like, are they gonna notice that and be like, it's not hot in there? But thankfully it's good. I think it's fun though. So
we did our last, I think we planned another 2 days, but I think we ended up doing do we do both in March? I can't remember. We either did 1 or 2 extra. I think we did 2 No, we did 2. Yeah, we did 2. We did 2 March. We split it up in March. We did the first half talk and the second half.
That's right. That's all to say. It was like 5 days total.
5 days total.
2. Yeah, 5. And then we also came, just you and I came and did some inserts and stuff, like the wet chains that we point out all the time.
Yeah.
That was one of the inserts I did flare. The sparklers, like we did that ourselves. So there's no hard answer really, but like generally as far as like having the whole crew and stuff here, it was like 5 days. But so yeah. And then so many days of editing, but no, that's a different thing. So another question that we got a lot is, why was there not more action? And we hear you on that.
Trust me, if we could have, we would have gone hard. I was shooting pulse rifles all the way.
Deal. But we, as you kind of alluded to in other videos and things, is, well, there's several things. Time. That action sequences take a lot of time to plan out and make sure that they look good and are fleshed out. And also resources, right? Whether it's money or space or materials. That was something that we were always fighting against because we, as I've said many times, we just have day jobs, and so we have to work around our schedule, we have to work around our budgetary constraints, and so having if we wanted more action, we would have had to have more sets, right? We would have needed a hallway outside so we can show the sort of chase scene that happens at the transmission beginning to give you that action. It would have been awesome to have maybe the alien like try and punch through the wall or something,
Don't wait a suit to do that too.
or even showing a big dent in the wall, like something like that is really hard to do when they're dealing with materials like we can't invest in big sheets of steel to bend and punch like that. So we were using styrofoam. It's like that's really hard to manipulate in that way. So that's all to say that like we wanted to badly, but just for the way the story was conceptualized and the restraints of our resources, it was really tough to make that happen in a believable way that we were proud of. I'm sure we could have pulled something off, but
for you guys as the fans, we wanted to give you something that we knew we could do within our restraints.
So we apologize there's not more action, but now that this is done pretty okay, maybe the next one.
Well, let us know.
Yeah, if we do some character prequels, there's action in those, especially on Naomi's end. So
Yeah.
we'll just see.
Never know. So the next question that we had is what lenses that we used on this film. And we originally planned out to use many different lenses, but as we were shooting, we ended up falling in love with a set called the Samira C lenses by Typhawk. I think I'm saying their name correctly. And out of that set, we actually ended up, 90% of the film was shot completely on the 28 millimeter. It just ended up being the lens that we could do all the shots that we needed to with. It has such a great close focal distance, great bokeh with its 16 blade iris. It really, gave us everything that we needed. There's only a few shots, especially towards the end, that we switched to the Blazar Remus 33 millimeter anamorphic. But most of it we shot just on that singular 28 millimeter lens. Yeah, and a lot of the close-up shots that you see are just that 28 millimeter with a diopter thrown on the front of it to help give us a little bit more of a zoomed in look. And really the lens gave us everything that we needed.
Yeah, with the way the style you shot it as well, being handheld most of the time, pushing slightly in and out from certain scenes and being mobile, the 28 millimeter like really lends itself well to that style of filmmaking and shooting. So it was kind of perfect. And I also just love that, like, even when put it raw into Premiere, it just looks great. Like, it's got, our lighting helped give it this vibe, but it kind of had this sort of slightly retro look to it.
And those lenses give great, they're basically clones of the Coke CP3s. They gave us exactly what we needed.
Yes.
So another question that we had for the film was, why do we keep everything in a singular room? And that was more of a writing exercise / challenge we wanted to do with the film. We wanted to see, or I guess I wanted to see, if it was possible to tell a good story within a singular room, but with a sci-fi setting attached to it.
Especially one as expansive as Alien, where it's like, hey, so place usually over this like entire ship versus like one space.
Because we had to figure out like how they get trapped in a singular room, which I see at the beginning, he welds the door shut because in that moment, he's like, I just want to keep whatever's outside away from us.
Yeah.
But in that moment, then realizes, shit, I roll this inside of a singular wow.
There's a dead end. So like, he's like, well, I guess that's my only option here.
Exactly. Yeah. And it worked out great for us, I think.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that idea of keeping it in a singular room, obviously it came super early in the process of writing it. And I think a lot of that was thinking about like our means, throwing it back to that, like what we could accomplish as a
because we knew we had to build a room and it was going to be expensive.
Yeah, sell it. Because immediately when you think of Alien, you think of this huge ship that, like, yes, there's several important locations that they're consistently in, but there's like interstitial places, the hallways and these transition spaces, and like wanting to tackle something like the Alien universe for a fan film, we had to be like, okay, we obviously can't build an entire practical set of different rooms on a ship. So how can we rectify that? And so that came from, well, why don't they just get trapped in a space, right? That was all on you before, I got the script. So I think that was a really cool idea. So proud to you for that. Thank you.
Well, guys, thank you so much for watching this second behind-the-scenes look at how we did Alien. We hope we answered all your guys' questions on how we did the production, how VFX and music was made, and everything of the sorts. So please, if you haven't checked out the short film, please give it a watch, like, comment your guys' thoughts. We love to hear you guys as fans' advice and ways we can improve as well.
Yeah. Share it. Keep showing people. Thank you so much for all the support and love you've shown for our little film, and props to the entire crew, from our PAs all the way up to our assistant directors and beyond that, and everyone in between, our composers, our VFX artists. Like, everyone did a stellar job, and this couldn't have happened without their ingenuity and their generosity. So thank you for that, and also for the generosity of the fans for giving us a chance and appreciating our scrappy little film. So
absolutely. So thank you guys so much, and we'll catch you next time.
Catch you in the next one.